right, welcome back. That was a nice 30-minute break. Got to eat some peanuts. They call these American peanuts in Israel, but they're not American. They're like covered with sesame. Not something that we had in the States, but they're good. Anyway, welcome back. Hi, Jonathan. How you been since the last session?
I had chips and chicken salad. And I have a nice brew. I show off my brews on my streams. This is a Cincinnati local brew. So you probably
you're advertising for them.
Yes, I do. They don't know it.
Welcome to our viewers. We've got 4 viewers right now.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool for starting into Weingreen, because I'll tell you what, Weingreen is a hard grammar. If we ever get through this, first of all, I'm writing a key for it. I haven't opened it. It's on my computer somewhere. After we finish, there's this book, Classical Hebrew Composition by Weingreen,
which
the second level in his book.
Don't know if I have. I'll try to
look for it. If we ever get through these, we might consider going into that. Now, that's some hard stuff.
Lexington area.
Lexington.
Hang on, Lexington. I was in Lexington for 15 years. So, if I were in Lexington, I would go down to Country Boy Brewery. That was my favorite. And Ramsey's is my favorite restaurant there. Has to
Jonathan, where exactly are you from? Jonathan studies at Hebrew Union in Cincinnati.
Yes, I'm from Cincinnati. But alas, our program is shutting down.
Well, I'm down the street from Hebrew Union in Jerusalem. I'm in Tel Aviv.
Yes, we should go visit. If I come to Israel, we should go visit.
Absolutely.
You should come along.
So essentially what we're going to be doing in this is going through the translation exercises of Weingreen's grammar. We are not going to be going into his grammar and teaching through it. It's a heavy thing. So if you are self-studying through Weingreen, and I know a lot of people use it for that, then this might be helpful to you. When I was in Bible college back in 1999 is when I started Hebrew. It was just the year that they changed over. They stopped using Weingreen the year before I started Hebrew, and they started using Sio's book, Sao, I don't know how to say his name, Siao, A Grammar for Biblical Hebrew, and I've had this since 1999. There was where I stayed, Ozark Christian College, room Strong 319, S319. That was my room when I was in Bible college. So we're going to go through Weingreen. I've never learned with Weingreen, but I've done the exercises because I'm putting together that key. So let's get started.
Hebrew 2 in high school used this book. So
yeah.
We didn't make it all the way through, of course, because we're high schoolers, but we did use it.
We're going to do basically an hour going through the Hebrew to English translations. Which book was this one?
That's
We're each showing a different book. This is the one that we used in Bible college.
That's the one I used in seminary the first time.
This, the author of this basically wanted to simplify Lambden's grammar. I don't know how much simplification he did. It's very theoretical.
He didn't simplify it at all. He expanded it. It's like twice as big.
Yeah, we went through that book and we learned the morphological theory behind Hebrew, and I thought it was fantastic. But by the time we finished, yes, exactly, that's the author. By the time we finished first year Hebrew, I wanted to never see the Hebrew language again. I hated it so bad. But I'm glad that I went ahead with it. So this is what we're going to do. I've created worksheet basically with the grammar, with the translation of Hebrew on the left, English on the right. We're going to go through the English translations from Hebrew to English with you, and then we're going to do private video of the Hebrew into English into Hebrew, because we want to try to get some subscribers, so we'll have premium content, and doing translations into Hebrew is a little bit more difficult, and hopefully will be something that will pull people into joining our little web of Hebrew enthusiasts. Colton says he learned first with Lambden in undergrad and Sal in master's program. You learned with them specifically, or with the books? I think you mean with the people. That's fantastic.
Probably with the books. Yeah, I learned Lambden in college and I hated it. But once I got through the grammar and started reading text, it actually started to make sense. I am currently using Lambden and Hunegard's book for Targumic Aramaic, but that was never published, which means you can find it for free online.
Wow. Is this in the book? Yes. If you read the materials that lead up to exercise 1, this is exercise 1 from the book. I just copied them over into a document. I typed them out, of course. And we should get started before we lose all of our time to this.
And we have 9. Wow. Good.
Woohoo! So welcome, everybody. And Colton confirms that he used the books. He used Lambden and then and Xiao. That's a hard word to say for me. I'll get started. So this is king or a king. I'm sorry, I'll pull over there. King or a king. We don't have an indefinite article in Hebrew, so it's a king or king. And the king, ha-melech. Melech, ha-melech. We're using the accent called ole, the little hooky one on the side, to indicate word stress if it's not on the final syllable. That's pretty common. Melech, ha-melech. Notice the dagesh in the mem representing the doubling, and the doubling is caused after the attachment of the article. This should be clear if you've gone through the exercises gone through the descriptions of the grammar up to this point in the book.
And it's also a segolet, so it's accented on the first syllable.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Don't get me started on segolets.
I know. Lord have mercy. So then we have Yom and Hayom. And that's clever. Oop, why did that happen?
Just hit Control Z and it undoes itself.
I got it. A day, the day.
It basically is thinking that you're trying to start a list. Like
right.
You're starting A, then B, then C.
Right, right.
All right. So here we've got Yom v'Hayom. Now we've got Laila v'Halayla. Laila is night, and Halayla is the night. So we're going to put A in parentheses again and undo that. A night and the night. Laila is also, by the way, a segolet noun. It's Lyle, and the A is a secondary form of the word. Segolets are wonderful. It's going to do it every time. There's no sense in doing that.
It's fine, I think, right?
It's still going to turn it into it's going to do it every time.
Shoot. Oh, okay. Well, it still saves me from typing it.
Yalla. You go to the next one?
Yes. And so then we have or, which means light, and ha-or, which is the light. And notice you've got the compensatory lengthening because Aleph can't take a dagesh. So the vowel will lengthen from a patach to a kametz, or kamatz, or kametz, or whatever you say.
I say kamatz, but that's really weird.
That's the true way to say it.
Yeah. So or is light, but ir with ein, ir is city. So it means a city or the city. Ha-ir. And just like with ein, with aleph, it rejects the dagesh, doubling. Also, ein rejects it. So we have compensatory lengthening, ha-ir.
And we have the same thing with rosh. A head, the head. Resh is a pseudo-guttural, or as my professor called it, that's not an official name, but a pseudo-guttural because it can take a shava, like a simple shava, whereas the gutturals usually require a compound or composite shava, or a hataf shava, whatever you want to call it.
I think in Sial we said chatef.
Chatef,
but we say chataf. In Israel we say chataf. Chataf bataf, chataf segol. So Colton says he just worked through all the exercises in Hunegard and Lambden's Targumic Aramaic himself. I've never studied
Really?
Aramaic thoroughly,
That's
and I would love to.
awesome. Did you use the most revised edition with the Babylonian vowel pointing system? That's awesome. We had to learn the Babylonian vowel pointing system.
I have these two. I've got Van Pelt, and I've got what's his name, Frederick Greenspan. I've got these two for Aramaic, and I would love if someone would want to work with me through Aramaic. But,
I don't like it.
Not gotten through them on my own.
It throws me off. It goes from first person to third person, and I hate it. Jason loves that.
That's how it should be. Okay, when you're coughing, mute your mic.
Yes, of course.
So it doesn't kill people. Cool. So the next one is choshech and ha-choshech. Notice that the ch needs to be pronounced choshech, ha-choshech. Okay, so it's there's no a here. It's just darkness. Oh, darkness, because you don't normally say a darkness, right? And the darkness. It's not normally a countable noun. You don't say one darkness, two darknesses.
So, and also Hoshech, at least Xiao, and this was the first grammar I saw that called this virtual doubling.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Hoshech and Ha-Hoshech. You should have a doubling or a compensatory lengthening, but you have no such thing.
Because we don't like those gutturals, right? What are the gutturals? We've got aleph, got hey, chet, ein, resh. I don't want to put dagesh inside of these letters. If you see a dot, like a dot that looks like dagesh inside of hey, it's not really dagesh, it's mapik. There are a few instances of dagesh in aleph and in resh in the Bible, but you don't need to worry about them or learn them. It's not popular. Okay. All right.
Yeah, the Targum book is available freely online because it was never published. So
yeah, so feel free to share a link in the comments. I'm sure that Adefia would like to get his hands on it, and I probably would like to look at it as well.
I already sent it to you, Jason.
Oh, cool. I already have it, but I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, you looked at it. Anyway, Heichal and Ha-Heichal, we have the same thing going on with the virtual doubling. So, a temple, the temple. It also means big house, hence temple. All right.
Yeah. So regarding that, I want to open a page on what's it called, on PowerPoint real quick, just so I can write something with my pen. I'll share it. Just a second. I'm not so fast at this. Not so fast at this system yet. I'll get faster, I promise. I'm still new. Let's see. This one. Okay. Can you see the white screen? Not yet. You can't. But now you can see the white screen. Okay. So essentially, I want to look at the word Eichal and see why there's that extra mark on there. What you see. Okay. Do you see my pen? Need feedback because I can't really see what's going on. Yes, you see it, Jonathan?
I do not.
You see a pen mark?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So Heichal. Okay, Eichal, temple, palace. Okay. When you put the hey on the front of it, it would like to be this, right? Heichal, but the hey, the letter hey rejects the dagesh, and it pops down here as compensatory lengthening normally. But in this case, it's not going to. It's going to do the virtual doubling. Ha heichal. So what is the little mark that we see in the book? That is this one right there. That little line that's beside it. Does anybody know?
That would be the meteg.
Meteg. Yes. Why is it there? Why
I
is
do not
meteg
know.
there? If you remember the rules, like let's say davar is word, right? If we want to make it plural, we say im on the end. That adds a syllable. So now the stress is here. This is a near syllable, and this is a first distant syllable. The rule is that distant syllables reduce, and so everything tries to go to shva. And that's what happens here. Shva drops. So we've got davar become dvarim, and these two syllables try to run together, right? So what we have here is a mark, this meteg, telling us something special. We have an open syllable. This is an open syllable, ha hechal. We have an open syllable with a full vowel, patach, and it does not reduce, even though this is tone, this is near, and this is distant. If the distant syllable does not reduce, the practice in the Bible is to mark it with meteg. Meteg is saying, I know the syllable is supposed to reduce because it's distant, but it's intentionally left full. So you're going to see it like with the word me, like me Adam, from a man.
You should
If
just
you've got
do.
the
You should
sere
just do.
here,
Sorry.
the meteg marks it as a long vowel. So it's saying yes, it's a full vowel and it's there, and we're not reducing it. So meteg is saying, I know you're telling me to reduce it, but I know it's a full vowel anyway. Okay, how's that for an explanation?
It is good.
Yeah. Now let's see if
But
I
it
can
happens
get us
most
back to.
often with vowels that you would think would be OU class, right? If it's distant open. So it would mark
I
it to
don't think
say that
that
it's
matters.
well, it would mark to say that this is a long A and not a short U, like in Hochma.
Well, that's a
Or
different use of meteg.
or in
Meteg
verbs.
also is used to mark a long vowel that could be confused as a short one, which we'll get into later on. When we hit verbs, that'll be relevant.
But it's still the same principle of what you were talking about.
Maybe.
I think so. All right.
Could be.
So we have we wouldn't have well, is this you? This is your turn, isn't it?
Ah, this is mine. Okay, so
Yeah.
afar, he afar. Afar, he afar. So afar is dust, and he afar is the dust. Why do we say he afar, not ha afar?
Because it sounds bad.
Let's grab that real quick. In other words, will happen in a pro-pretonic open syllable. Yeah, I don't like the whole pretonic, pro-pretonic. It's difficult. But yes, that is what it means. Pro-pretonic, tonic,
You
pretonic,
gotta
pro-pretonic.
put your screen back.
Oops, how's that? So pro-pretonic, yes, that's the thing exactly. It means it's this two syllables before the tone. And it's easy just to call it distant. These are distant syllables. Near is the one by the tone, and distant is anything further. So it's he afar, because biblical Hebrew, they didn't want ha afar with the ayin. There are certain letters, ayin, het, that if they have kamatz, that is unstressed, that it will take segol instead. Like harim means mountains. I'm going to type real quick in Hebrew right here. Where are we? Harim, okay, mountains. If we have one mountain, it's ha-har, ha-har. But once we make it plural, we say harim, then we have that hey with kamatz. It's unaccented because the stress is here, rim. So this changes to he, and it's marked with meteg to say that it's a distant syllable that remains full. Okay. Harim, the same thing is here, he afal. The segol is marked with meteg because it's or meteg to say that it's a full vowel that doesn't reduce. Jonathan?
Okay. Yes. So now we're getting away from first guttural nouns. So we've just got our good old Hayom. So this is definitely the day. I guess it could also just mean day. That happens too. Oh, for crying out loud.
No, you have to just hit Control Z every time that it changes.
Day.
It's going to change again. Every time you hit space, it's going to do it. You have to hit Control Z.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But this is a clause. This is a sentence. Day or the day, and then v'halayla. So you have no gutturals. So you're going to see a dogish in the yod. You're going to see a dogish in the lamed. And you got the vav, so it's going to be and the night. So it makes you think
Okay,
of
but
Genesis 1, right?
Yeah, the day and the night.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, the next one, ha'or v'choshech. Ve means end. We should get comfortable with saying ve, like between everything. Peanuts ve Coca-Cola. Peanuts ve Coca-Cola. Ve.
That's directed towards me, I'm sure.
Only in certain situations does that become oo.
Yes.
We have the bump vav, bump
shava.
oo.
Bump shava.
Shva. That's right,
Yeah.
shva. These become oo. So oo before bet, oo before mem, oo before pay, and oo before a word that starts with shva. Shvana. Movable shva. Ha'or, the light, and the darkness. Ha'or ve'achoshech. Ha'or ve'achoshech.
And you see again the compensatory lengthening under ha'or because of the aleph. Right?
Yallah.
So melech v'adam. So king and man, I would say for this. I'm sorry, king. Oh, for crying out loud. Did I type that or did it correct it? King and
You did type
man.
It. How about we put a king and a man?
Yeah. And the king and the man.
Mitsuyan.
And I put man
Adama.
because I don't think that Adam had. I don't think you should put it as a proper noun because there's no kings in that story, as far as I'm aware.
You didn't put the man. It's missing. There
Oops.
you go.
Thank you.
Good. Hamelech ve'ha'adam. Notice ha'adam. Ha'adam has the meteg under the hey because it's a distant syllable that doesn't reduce.
And
this is actually taught in Weingreen's book, by the way, if you want to look at it.
And compensatory lengthening yet again because of the aleph.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Adama ve'afar. Adama ve'afar. That is land and dust. Okay. Ha'adama ve'afar. Ha'adama ve'afar. The land and the dust. Any questions? Are we moving too quickly? I think that this should be pretty clear if you've gone through the book at all.
Yeah, the tendency is going to be to move fast because these are easy for us, but
yeah, these aren't real sentences. They're just words that are joined together. So,
but if you don't catch something, ask questions. Even if you're in your first semester or who have never studied it before or are learning it by yourself, which is becoming more and more common these days, for good or ill. So ir v'hechal. So a city.
First, put wait your.
Oh yeah. A city and a temple. Actually, these would both be a because there is no article. And then we have the city and the temple.
I put a in parentheses because It could be in temple. It could be a city in a temple. Like, there are different ways. All right. Here we get into a sentence. Yay! Bara Elohim Adam min ha'adama. If we slow it down, Bara Elohim Adam min ha'adama. So he created. Who created? God. God created. This is just like the beginning of Genesis. Bereshit bara Elohim. Adam, because we're not. It could be Adam. God created Adam. It could be humanity. Adam. Could be a man. These are all valid translational choices. Right? Bara Elohim Adam min from the Adama. God created Adam from the ground. God created a man from the ground. God created humanity from the ground.
Cool.
You could do either one.
And I get the good sentence. I think it's too early to introduce this verb. This is a middle week, and I think it's
You don't need to explain the whole thing because it's too early to introduce the verb. Just he gives the verb and you translate it.
All right. So, Ba HaMelech, the king came or is coming. Min ha'hechal, from the temple or palace.
Which do you think it would be?
Probably palace, because it's a king.
Yeah, I think so too. Hechal normally is a palace. The word that we use for temple is like the temple in Jerusalem is Beit Mikdash. Beit Mikdash. A Mikdash is a temple generally from Kodesh, holiness. Mikdash is a holy place. But Hechal can be used like we say the house of God. Beit Adonai, the house of God is like the temple of God. Hechal Adonai. Jeremiah says to make all the observations that you can. So when I say, no, wait, don't stop, maybe you should, maybe some people would like to hear the explanations. He says it's all helpful. I think that trying to talk about weak verbs right now is not going to be so helpful. Okay. Amar.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put that there so soon, but that's just me.
Amar Elohim el ha'adam. Amar Elohim el ha'adam. He said. Amar is he said. And the subject is Elohim. This is the second time that we've seen Elohim as a subject that is singular with a verb, like Amar or Bara. So how do we know that Elohim, which is technically the form is plural, how do we know that that's the subject?
Should we leave that an open question for the audience?
Yeah.
Let's do. Type.
If we say Amar, it's he said. And then Elohim is technically God's. And then El is two, Ha is the, and man, Ha Adam. Maybe it's he said God's to the man. What did he say to the man? He said God's.
Could be.
Hmm?
Technically.
Oh, and I would also say, because some people here have studied Aramaic, this exact form, Amar, in Aramaic is a participle, meaning saying. Saying.
Rather than we can talk about the Canaanite shift, but we're not going to.
Amar Omer.
Yep.
Any comment about Elohim being the subject of Bara and Elohim being the subject of Amar?
Okay, I guess we'll move on. Well, you want?
All right. Well, so we'll say quickly. We'll just say quickly that that Elohim. We're not even showing up on the screen. I just noticed.
You haven't typed anything yet. Yeah.
Yeah, but we aren't there. Elohim is. Let's see if this could be a plural or singular. Okay. We know that it is referring to God in the singular because the verb itself is singular. Amar is he said specifically. It is not they said. If it were the gods said to the man, it would be Amru. Amru ha-Elohim el ha'adam. The gods said to the man, but we don't have a plural verb, Amru, which we don't know yet in this grammar, right? We only know Amar. The verb is singular. And so anytime you have a singular verb and the word Elohim is plural, it's talking about God. Not necessarily. It's talking about the chief or patron god of a people, meaning that Egypt and Moab and Ammon or Ammon, the Ammonites, Ammon, or the Hittites, Achittim, every people group has a god that they worship. And it happens to be that Yud-He-Vav-He, that is the Adonai, is the god of Israel, the Israelite deity, the deity of the Israelite people. And so for the Israelite people, Elohim is Yud-He-Vav-He.
What were you referring to, Adefia? What do you need repeated?
But also the Chemosh or Chemosh was the god of Moab, and he is called Elohei Moab, the gods of Moab. Every nation's chief god is called Elohim.
That's very interesting. I did not know that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Glad he answered that for you.
So in Israel, where we have only one God, he is called Elohim. That's the common title that is used for the God of the Bible. I don't know about the race of extraterrestrial beings, but there is discussion about it, especially what's his name, Zacharias Sitchin, who did work with Sumerian culture. I believe he espoused something like that.
Well, and you also have B'nai Elohim in Genesis when the sons of God and the daughters of men came, and there's a lot of debate on what those are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. So then we have.
I've not really read much of Michael Heiser. I like his work on the idea of the two powers in heaven. Like, I think that's very interesting.
Michael Heiser is good. He's just, the whole point of the book is that he's just trying to make you aware of the divine council theory. But he says aliens. That's surprising to me. But anyway, moving forward, number 17, Amar Elohim El.
Yeah, that's me.
Yes,
that's me. Amar Elohim El Ha'adam says God.
Wait.
Said.
Oh, that's not you. That's you. That's right. Sorry.
To the man. God said to the man. Amar, he said in the past. It could also be God told the man. Say and tell are often the same thing. Amar. But we also have specific verbs for tell that we'll come across later on in the grammar.
I trust Nahum Sarna. He's top notch.
Yeah. Nahum Sarna is very he's reputable. He's good.
So Va'el Ha'ir Ba HaMelech. So first we have what happened here? Okay. To the city came the king. So is that good English? Probably not. Or, just like before, it could be is coming. But I think he probably intends you to translate it past tense. So the king came to the city. Why is El Ha'ir fronted? Well, we don't know, but it is fronted. You've got the to the city before the main clause. So, yeah.
It could be that whatever context was saying the people went into the cave.
Sorry, I'll try to work.
The people came. The people came into the cave, and to the city came the king. Like it could be emphasizing something contrasted to the previous part, but this is made up. The sentences in this book are made up. Looking for explanation as to why you know the word Elohim is a subject. Well, this would just come from reading Hebrew a lot. Like, I mean, if you try to put it as an object, it wouldn't make sense generally. I mean, you can try different things, but what makes sense and what doesn't make sense, you know? Like the next one, 19. Bara Elohim or min hachoshech. He created God light. God light? That doesn't make sense in Hebrew. God light would have to be light of God, or Elohim. Like you can't try it the other way. It just doesn't work. So the he created means God created. God created light from the darkness.
Yeah, so Jeremiah, we were just going by the strict word order before. Just pointing out the word order.
Yeah, normally in Hebrew, to say something like that, you would say something like Vayomer elav Elohim, or Vayomer elav lemor Elohim. Lemor would generally introduce a direct speech. It's just that word order isn't used in Hebrew. You don't take elav, like el ha'adam, the direct object, and put it after what's spoken. You can't say in Hebrew, and he said to him, or he said, God to him. Like to him has to come after the verb. It can't go after what's spoken. Oh. And as far as word order is concerned, all of these sentences...
Discussion for another day. But the standard view is verb, subject, object.
All of the sentences in Weingreen are artificially constructed. They're not real. They're not from the Bible until we get a while later into the text. So all of these where he says, Amar Elohim El Ha'adam, this is not normal. This is not the unmarked, we'll say unmarked word order. The unmarked word order would be subject, verb, object. So we should say Elohim bara.
Hey, you're stealing my thunder. This is my area. We're not talking about this yet. The word order.
Well, it's worth saying, when I'm making the key for this, I'm writing them, the English to Hebrew, in unmarked order. Elohim bara or min hachoshech. Ha'adam ba min ha'afar.
But most people would say that verb subject is unmarked, which is another discussion for another day, right?
But what we're going to see eventually is that the most common word order in biblical Hebrew is verb subject object. And that's because the most common function, the most common structure in biblical Hebrew is the vav consecutive. Vayiktol.
It's a
and the vav consecutive has to come at the beginning of the clause.
It's a helpful discussion. It's a minority view, but it's a view that we both subscribe to. But as far as Weingreen was concerned, verb subject object at this point is unmarked. Yeah. As far as most Hebrew scholars are concerned, verb subject object is unmarked. But there are a certain two people who have made the argument that the standard word order is subject verb object, and there are many things that cause it to flip. But that's another discussion for another day. I think I'll do a session on word order one of these days, because I think I want to do something for that for my PhD work. But finishing off, number 10, Ba ha'adam min ha'afar, rather. So the man came from the dust. Anything interesting? We got virtual doubling on afar again, right?
Not virtual doubling. It's compensatory lengthening that goes to a.
Yep. And then
Remember the gutturals with kamatz that is not stressed, not accented, before it becomes eh.
Same here as well with ha'adam.
Mm.
Yep.
So instead of saying ha-chaver, the friend, you should say he-chaver, which most people don't say. Instead of saying ma asita, what did you do? Ma asita, you're supposed to say me asita. Me asita, what have you done? But most people won't say that.
Well, I mean, God says mazot asita in Genesis. But
yeah. So basically, what we're going to tackle in the public session of these exercises is the Hebrew to English. That's what our goal is for each week. And then immediately afterwards, Jonathan and I will go into a separate link and record a private video that will do English into Hebrew. And so anybody who would like to view those videos is welcome to join through Patreon. And through Patreon, we would share links to that. We don't have it set up right now. So we're going to go ahead and do the second session, record the English into Hebrew, and then once I get everything set up for the Patreon, you'll have access to it if you'd like to join us on there. And you'll have access to this session and also the future sessions. But right now, as far as I assume we're finished. So if you have any questions, this is going to be, of course, the shortest Hebrew to English session because it's the fewest questions to go over, fewest exercises to go over. Colton says, the way I've heard it is that verb, subject, object is actually marked because of the narrative genre. Exactly.
Yeah.
But direct speech, which they say is unmarked, is SVO. Yeah. Yeah. The person who writes most persuasive about this is John Cook. He and Robert Homestead have put together some fantastic discussions of word order in Biblical Hebrew. And to me, they hit on the correct theory. I've read enough about it, and I really agree with him.
They're actually trained in linguistics, so they apply linguistics to Biblical Hebrew, which pisses a lot of exegetes off, because lots of people who do interpretation and exegesis don't think too highly of in linguistics, but I think that's wrong-headed, personally. So yeah. So I guess we're going to go do the English to Hebrew now, but we got way more viewers than I thought we would for this session.
Yes, Adepia, this is true. Patreon is a paid site, and the idea is that we want to be able to put these things together, and we want to be able to get a little bit, not much, but a little bit back for putting the work together, and hopefully we'll have a useful YouTube channel that will benefit people in learning Hebrew.
Biblingo, excellent. Really... Good. I think that would help the algorithm.
I believe so. What we are really, really needing right now is their public viewing hours, which means we need people to go back through the videos that have already been uploaded and just spend time with them playing on their telephones or on their computer screens. We need to hit, in order to monetize, we need to hit 3,000 public viewing hours. And right now we're sitting almost at 900 in the last year, which is not great, but we haven't been putting any content out. So this is where we are.
Yeah,
it's true. Any engagement helps. Yeah, Biblingo is also convinced, the people who put their presentations together, they're also convinced of the correctness of Cook and Homestead. I think that anybody who reads their things, their published papers, and even John Cook put a book out on it. Anyone who puts the time into reading their arguments, I think, will be persuaded. I mean, it's not true. They're not all persuaded. There's a lot of argument about it.
Right.
But I really think that their presentations are fantastic.
And yeah, we still have the Hebrew grammar lessons up on the YouTube channel.
Yep, everything is up there. You just go on youtube.com/@thehebrew-cafe, and all of the videos that we've done are on there, and the live videos that we're putting out are under the tab called Live. So it's just only the right now only the English to Hebrew will be behind the paywall. Adefia, I will be able to send you a link so you can watch without paying. I can do that for you. It's fine. I know your situation, so I'll be generous. Thanks so much, Gandalf. I really appreciate that you've been here for all of our live videos so far. And everybody else who's jumping in, I know that Weingreen it's mystified text because everybody knows about it. And I think most people find it difficult. And I think that this is going to be in place of a key. That's something that gives explanations back and forth. And I think it could be very useful for some people. Yes, good night. It's now 1:45 a.m. here. We're going to take a 15-minute break, go potty and relax a little bit, and come back and do our English to Hebrew. So,
Jason.
yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. All right. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Indeed. We'll see you next time.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat tov. Shabbat's over here. Shabbat tov. Bye-bye.